Hey everybody, welcome to the Veterans Community Hour here on JHM Radio. I'm your host, Cliff. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. We got a great show for you today, and make sure that you share and like the Veterans Community Hour with your friends and family because most people know someone who is a veteran or is currently serving, and we want to make sure that you're connecting with veterans. Uh, and make sure that you share this show so that they can get the resources and information, health and fitness tips that we're going to be sharing today. The Veterans Community Hour is a show about bringing awareness so that information can be shared and resources that are available can also be utilized. And speaking of awareness, my last show got a tremendous response. And I got several thank you emails from people who saw the show and shared the show. And the last show was about scams and frauds. And I got a couple of emails from people who serve in the military that also were victims of scams and frauds. So shout out to all those people who responded to that show. And thank you for the encouraging emails. And I will do what you said and continue to bring awareness to the veterans community about people who have been scammed and frauded via veterans programs. All right. Now, I want everyone who is supporting the show to make sure you go and visit Chop Shop Indy right here in Indianapolis. Chop Shop Indy is a great barbershop who offers veterans discount haircuts. On Tuesdays, you can get your haircut for $10, and they're located at 3917 East 10th Street, right there down the street from Linwood Square. And shout out to the great barbers they have out there. Tay Dog, my buddy Jared, Master Barbers down there offering great services for veterans. All you have to do is bring your veterans ID, and you can get you a $10 haircut on Tuesday. Kids are also welcome. All right. So make sure you check out the Chop Shop Indy right there on the east side of Indianapolis. All right. Now, we have a great show today. As you can see on screen, we have Captain Stephanie Lincoln as our guest today, and she's going to be sharing with us some information and resources about health, fitness, and nutrition. So welcome to the show, Captain Lincoln.
Hey, Cliff. Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say, you just talked about your last show. Mm-hmm. Your last show was so good. And I love that, you are dedicated to bringing this really important information to veterans and spreading the word. And that topic that you covered last show was so amazing. And I'm just so grateful for what you do for our veterans community on a daily basis. With not only what you live on a daily basis, but weekly with your show. So thank you so much for doing this.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Captain Lincoln, for acknowledging that and being a guest on the Veterans Community Hour. I appreciate that very much. Now, the last time that we talked a little bit about some of the myths and misconceptions about health and fitness and some of the traditional beliefs that related to health and fitness. For example, we had a discussion about exercise and losing weight. This week, we are going to talk a little bit about problems in the military and how it affects veterans when we come home from active duty. There's lack of the same activity level because when we're serving, we have to do that PT requirement. But there are some startling numbers regarding veterans and obesity, and I want to get into that. But first of all, I want you, Captain Lincoln, to tell the people about yourself, who you are, and how you are still serving veterans as a veteran.
Yes, thank you. So I am the owner and founder of a company called Fireteam Whiskey. And for those of you who are veterans and in the military, and especially if you were in the Army, you know a fire team is the smallest element in the military, right? So those are like the 4 or 5 guys or gals or both that you spend most of your time with, and you do everything together, right? So that's the concept behind Fireteam Whiskey, is that anybody who participates in our health and fitness programs are part of our fire team. So you will not get left behind. So we work together to get you to your goals, to execute your health and fitness missions. And I started this company because over the years, I had noticed the steady decline of the fitness levels and the health of service members, specifically soldiers, because I was working as a civilian contractor for the National Guard. And it was becoming very apparent to me that I was sitting down with these young soldiers who had all these. I'm so sorry. Somebody's knocking on my door. This is what happens with live events here.
Right. Live television.
Yeah, so sorry. Okay, so I noticed that, this is a huge need. And let's talk about the statistics, though. Let's dive right into that, because you just referenced that. So 78% of veterans are overweight or obese. 78%. Wow. So military veterans in the United States, a majority, well over a majority of them are overweight or obese. 52% of the uniformed military are overweight or obese. And then 1 in 4 veterans receiving care at the VA have type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a completely preventable disease, all based on nutrition.
Okay, so, talk a little bit about some of the things people can do that you said are based on nutrition.
Okay, so the bottom line is nutrition is 99.9% of the puzzle, right? To improve your health and fitness. I recommend, and we talked about this on our last show, so how the people rely on working out, right? So they think, okay, I need to lose weight, so I need to work out more. And that has been disproven by research, is that, relying on exercise for weight loss is actually not scientific fact. So if you're going to do one thing, the one thing you need to do is change your nutrition. So, but why don't people work on this? Obviously, if it were that simple, we wouldn't have the obesity rates that we have, right? So why is it? Sergeant Cliff, why don't you tell me, why do you think people don't work on their nutrition when it's such an important part of their health and fitness?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with your environment. If you are not focused on nutrition, then you're gonna eat a lot of things that are not healthy. For example, if you have a bunch of kids and they like pizza, or they like fast food, or they like potato chips and candy, that's what you're going to probably have around the house a lot. So I think the environment that you have in your home can kind of throw you off of a nutrition kick. And then if you get a health scare, something like diabetes or hypertension, then you may make a concerted effort to start throwing in some salads here and there, some fruits and vegetables. So I kind of think people don't work on nutrition because of their surroundings.
Yeah, so you're right. And that's one of the things that I talk about when I do lectures on this subject is, if you think about it, we've really become very conditioned, and you talk about environment. So think about like when you're around little kids, obviously you can't remember when you were a toddler, but think about how you interact with toddlers. Like, what do you do when you try to get them to do something, right? You want them to use the potty instead of going in the diapers. And what do we do to reward them?
we probably say you got some gum or candy or a slice of pizza or some potato chips or some juicy juice or something. Yes.
Exactly. So we start getting rewarded through these like high carbohydrate, high sugar foods from a very young age, right?
Yeah.
And we associate that with praise and good things and, birthday parties. We get all this cake and ice cream and, that trend kind of continues throughout our lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. All of the good things that happen in our lives are surrounded by this like high carbohydrate, high sugar food. So
that's an excellent point.
Yeah. So it's hard for us to kind of be confronted with, when we're sitting in the doctor's office and they're telling us, you have diabetes and now you're going to have to start taking insulin. And now you have to stop eating these things. And it's just like, you have this reaction like, but all the fun's going to go out of my life. I can't have fun anymore.
Uh-huh.
So that's why most people don't work on these things because they equate those foods with fun and good and pleasant feelings and emotions. And when they're told to stop doing those things, they really don't want to do it because it means no more fun.
Good point. And speaking on that point, that brings up, in my mind, a mental health or not health, but a mentality of being rewarded with food. I'm not saying that's a mental health issue, but you really do have to change your way of thinking.
Yes, and I love that you said that because I'm an eating psychology specialist. So I'm not just a certified fitness trainer. I actually have a master's degree in counseling. And this is a big component of our program, the Fire Team Whiskey programs. We call it Warrior Wellness. And so our Warrior Wellness component are addressing these things that we're talking about right now. The issues with, having mental connections with the food and, really struggling with, thinking that, gosh, if I give up these foods, my life is over, right?
Right.
And, and I always say, if you want anything on the outside to change, right? So I want this on the outside to change. I've got to start with changing this. Right. And I've got to start changing that. Because if you don't make those changes in here and in here, so those of you who can't see me or you're just listening, I'm pointing to my brain and my heart, then those outside changes outside are not going to be permanent. So that's why diets don't work, is because it's just focusing on changing the outside, right? But we're not doing anything about our belief system and our emotions and the things that are connected with those behaviors that led to us getting overweight and sick in the first place.
And to the point that you were making earlier, 99% of that condition is nutrition, type 2 diabetes. And you just explained very eloquently the connection of mental health and mental awareness with the rewarding of certain foods. And it is difficult. If someone's trying to diet and they're used to lasagna and fried chicken and things like that, and you tell them they can no longer have that, or a smaller portion or something, or even do away with it altogether, that mental health portion is going to be very, very crucial for them to be successful. And like you just said, a lot of diets don't succeed because it's so easy to relapse back into those old eating habits. And then you may be in that situation again where you're putting your health at risk by the type 2 diabetes. It may lead to type 1 and insulin and things like that. So speaking of that, Captain Lincoln, can you tell us a little bit about type 2 diabetes? And as you said, a lot of veterans have that. 72% of veterans have type 2 diabetes. Can you talk a little bit about the Well, no, I said corrected. 72% of Americans are overweight or obese, not type 2 diabetes, but 1 in 4 veterans receiving care at VA facilities have type 2 diabetes. My question is, can you tell us how type 2 becomes type 1? And is it nutrition related?
Well, actually, that's a misnomer. So, yeah, I love that you asked this because there's a lot of conflicting beliefs about diabetes. So, and I want to preface this. I'm not a doctor, but I do know a lot about this because I've educated myself and gotten the education that I need to help make the best recommendations for the veterans and first responders that I work with their nutrition. So type 2 diabetes is very different from type 1 diabetes. And here's how they're different. Type 1 diabetes is the fact that your body does not make any insulin or so low that the body cannot function. So this is a very dangerous condition because we need insulin in order to think of insulin. Here's how I like to think of insulin. It makes it, I know it sounds like a scientific word, but here's how I want you to think of it. Insulin is like a taxi cab, right? And it takes the glycogen, which is energy, into the cells. So it has to drive the glycogen to the cells, and it drops the glycogen off into the cells for our cells to use as energy. So if there's no taxi cabs, the glycogen can't get into the cells. So this is a really dangerous condition. And it's usually genetic. And these people who have type 1 diabetes have to inject insulin because of the fact that their bodies don't produce any. And this is not something that's curable right now in our scientific community, unless they can figure out how to do some sort of pancreas replacement. It's just not doable. So now let's flip to type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes means that you have too much insulin being produced by your body. So it's the exact opposite, basically, of type 1. And people get them confused because they're like, well, but why do type 2 diabetics have to inject insulin if they have too much, right? So let me explain in a very simple way why this happens. So when we eat something, so let's just pretend I ate a cupcake, all right? So a high carbohydrate, high sugar food. Immediately what happens is my body responds and sends out insulin, right? Because it wants to take all of that energy that I just ate and get it into the cell. But the problem is because I ate so much energy, my body doesn't need that much energy, right? It only needs a small portion of that. So I have all this extra. And so the cells, they basically say, well, no, I'm full, or the locks are broken to bring in that energy into the cells because they've been inundated so long with this glycogen. It's just too much, too much, too much. I think of it like locks in a door to let the glycogen in. And so let's say, I've been jamming a key into a lock over and over and over and over and over again for 40 years. What's going to happen? Right. It's going to break, right? So with type 2 diabetics, it's not the fact that they're not producing enough insulin. They're actually producing a lot of insulin, plenty of insulin, but their locks are broken because they've been jamming the keys in there for way too long and too much. So the problem is no energy can get into the cells. So that's how type 2 diabetes develops. And then the really bad thing about this condition is the fact that all that glycogen that can't get into the cells, guess where it goes? It's stored as fat.
It's fat. Sugar is fat. Yes.
Sugar is stored as fat. So a lot of people don't know that. They think if I eat fat, it's actually stored as fat. It's actually the exact opposite. So fat, which is broken down into what we call ketones, cannot be stored as fat. But glycogen, the sugar and carbohydrates, and some, part of the protein molecule, is if it can't get into the cells to be used as energy, then the body just stores it as fat. So that's why people with type 2 diabetes, most people are have an issue with being overweight and or obese, and they continue to get more and more overweight and obese because they're having to additionally place insulin in their body through injections because they're trying to force their cells and inundate their cells to try and get this energy in there. So that's why this is such an issue. And the sad thing about type 2 diabetes is that it's completely preventable.
Right. And, the food industry is not really helping either with all of these packaged and processed convenience products that are out there. Quick microwave meal here, quick this, quick that. And a lot of those processed and packaged foods have a lot of sugar. So you really have to make a conscious effort to eat healthy, to seek out fruits and vegetables as a meal. And you got so much going on, Captain Lincoln. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but you have your own food line. Talk to us about that.
Yes. So as a part of the Fire Team Whiskey nutritional programs, I acknowledge that, people have busy lives and we don't always have time to make a meal, a healthy meal, or, take the time to food prep and bring our food along with us. And especially for those who, we're serving, which is mainly military members and first responders, they don't have time for that. I mean, they're out in the middle. I have people who are doing my program right now who are in the middle of Iraq. You think they have time to go to a grocery store? There's no grocery stores, let alone having kitchens and having, being able to carry around food and having refrigerators. So we acknowledge that it's definitely a struggle for people who have very busy lives, like military members and first responders, to stay, on plan and not eat those like packaged foods like you were talking about that are packed with carbohydrates and sugar. So basically I created for them a line of nutritional bars and shakes that they can take anywhere, and they're very low sugar, very low carb, and that, you can just eat on the go. I literally had one for lunch today because I was so busy today, but I was getting really hungry. And guess what I did? I grabbed my bar. Here it is. And I ate one for lunch because I literally had 30 seconds where I could inhale something and then move on with my day. And the fact is that these are actually baked, so they're not chemically processed and packed together and chalky and dry, and they're actual food. And then the shakes can be just mixed with water in a blender bottle like this, and just shaked up and just drank on the go. So healthy, super low carb, super low sugar, so you can get that satisfaction of having something to eat on the go, but not get all that processed carbs and sugar and stay on plan.
Wow, that's really inspiring, the way you are continuing to serve veterans with your own food line, because you are really into health and fitness, and you've seen the deterioration of veterans and active duty military members who aren't eating healthy and staying fit and active. So thank you for your service, and thank you for creating something that is a useful tool for those of us who want to stay fit and healthy, because type 2 diabetes runs rampant in the African American community. I think higher than any other community. Don't quote me on that. I'm not a doctor either, but I have seen several news reports about the devastating effects of diabetes in the African American community. And for everybody out there watching the show and listening to the show, I have tried some of Captain Lincoln's food products, and they are delicious. And again, congratulations on creating something that is helpful. And I think more people, food manufacturers, should provide a healthy alternative to that processing and that sugary stuff that they work so hard on.
Yeah, and also here's an interesting stat though, Cliff. You know the meals ready to eat, the MREs. You know the every branch they call them something different, but do you want to know the average sugar content in just one MRE?
Oh, that's interesting. Let me guess. Average. 15 grams.
54 grams of sugar.
Wow. I remember those MREs. I didn't taste anything sweet. I mean, that you would think had that kind of sugar in there. I remember the strawberries that you put the water in, you got strawberries. I remember that very well. That was the sweetest thing in an MRE, was some kind of fruit thing. And you would think that most of the sugar would be in the fruit thing.
Well, if you look at the content, they put sugar in pretty much every single item, even, the things that you wouldn't think that have sugar in it, like, the meats. And it's because it's a great preservative. Sugar and carbohydrates are good preservatives. And, that's just what they add to make them taste good, because, that's what the preference is for most people, is to eat something sweet and they think it tastes good. But, that was one of the reasons why I created my own line and why it kind of looks like an MRE, is because, I think it's a shame. And, it really is a shameful issue that our own Department of Defense provides very terrible nutrition to our military members. And it's not that, I experienced it. Certainly, I've eaten in plenty of chow halls and plenty of MREs in the 10 years that I was in, but it's still going on today. And I specifically asked my fire team whiskey members who are active duty to send me pictures of what's being offered to them in the chow halls. And it's really no different than when I was in. They have this classification system that they use, but it's very inaccurate, and it actually completely makes no sense in a lot of ways. They have this red, yellow, green system where they advise the service members to limit certain foods by the use of the red and the yellow, which doesn't make any sense, because if it were red, why are they serving it? I mean, red means stop, right? So why would I offer you something and go, here, I don't want you to eat this, but have it as an option? So it just doesn't make any sense. I think that the Department of Defense, and I'm very vocal about this, has been very, very negligent in caring for the nutrition of our military service members. And it's created this crisis in the military. Not only are 52% of our uniformed service members overweight and or obese, okay, so that goes along with all of those related obesity and overweight issues, like joint issues. They're more prone to injuries, high blood pressure, more susceptible to other illnesses like cancer and heart disease and stroke. Mm-hmm. So that basic thing that the Department of Defense could easily manage and pump a little money into in the long run could save them trillions. I'm talking trillions of dollars on the back end, right, for caring for these veterans now who are in the VA system being treated for type 2 diabetes and all of the related medical issues that go along with it. So the money that they're spending to treat medically these nutritional related medical issues could be completely saved by just investing a little bit of time and money and effort into offering actual healthy food and healthy MREs to our current uniformed service members.
That's an excellent point, Captain Lincoln. That is an excellent point. When you think about the prevention that needs to be implemented, and where is it? Because diabetes has ramifications. You can lose a limb. You can lose your eyesight. It could really devastate a family and an individual when it could have been prevented. Definitely type 2 and type 1 has to be strictly managed in order to deal with that, because it is not curable. But anyway, I was just thinking something.
Can I throw in one more thing there?
Yeah, throw that in.
This is what I'm really passionate about. So So if you are listening to this or watching this right now and you have type 2 diabetes, listen, just if you don't hear anything else that I tell you, you can be cured. It is not too late. So, and I have personally known people and had clients that I've worked with who have been told by their doctors that they will be diabetic for the rest of their lives and that they will not be able to be cured from this medical issue. Mm-hmm. And I am telling you, that's BS. I won't curse. That's BS. And there is hope, and you can do it, and you can be cured and be without this condition. So you're not cursed with it for the rest of your life. So if they're telling you that, that is not true. Okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. Thank you for sharing that and sharing some encouragement with the people out there that are listening or viewing the show, because diabetes is a devastating disease, like you said, and you can be cured, so don't give up hope. So thank you for sharing that. And you are a person who knows, and you are encouraging our watchers and listeners. So thank you again. Now, I was thinking about all the information you're sharing, and you've started this food line, nutritional food items available. What else can people do? For example, an exercise regime. Talk a little bit about how diet and exercise work together for our overall health.
Yes. So so you may have gotten a cheat sheet here, but I'm going to quiz you, Sergeant Cliff. So what is, and I see your muscles, you're showing them off today. I got some too. So what is the most important muscle in your whole body?
I'm going to say my heart.
Yes. He didn't cheat. I didn't give him the answer before this. So your heart is your most important muscle. And if you think about it, that's the thing that keeps us alive, right? So that is the most important thing that we need to take care of. So I understand if you're not a gym rat, you're not a person who, wants to go and lift weights and do all these crazy workouts. I get it. There's just people who don't like that, and that's fine. You don't have to do that. But what you do have to do is to work that muscle every single day. So if you think about it, if it's just focus on that, and you'll be taking care of everything else as well. So you don't have to work out for hours or go lift heavy weights or spend hours on a treadmill to work out that muscle. I love functional fitness. So I love working with people to figure out what they love to do in their lives and kind of turn it into working out that most important muscle. So let's say you love spending time with your dogs. You love going on a walk with your dogs. Mm-hmm. Well, let's turn it into a workout. So, maybe you walk at a little faster pace. maybe you, you run a little bit for, just a couple yards, and then walk at a fast pace, and then run and then walk at a fast pace. So you can always turn into even just a daily walk into getting that heart rate up a little bit. And that's all you have to do. So you have to get your heart rate up. And I see a lot of people who go on their daily walks, but they're walking so slowly that they're actually not pushing and working out that muscle. So all you have to do is just get a little out of breath. You don't have to be like, bent over and out of breath and, gasping for air, but you do need to get to a point where you're a little out of breath. So that's a good gauge for me. If I'm going on a walk, I need to be just a little bit out of breath, and I know I'm working that most important muscle. And then even just functional fitness, like yard work. Yard work is hard. I do my lawn every week, and it is a workout.
Yeah, it is a workout. Raking leaves as well.
Yeah,
raking leaves is great exercise.
Yeah, so turning that into a workout, so moving a little faster, getting that heart rate up. I love climbing and kayaking, so you don't have to go to a traditional gym in order to get a little bit of a workout. So if you live on the water, maybe you get a kayak or go take a kayaking class. I even have friends who started taking dance lessons. So learning how to dance is a way to get your heart rate up.
Uh-oh, what's that noise? You're okay, Captain Lincoln.
Are you getting a phone call?
We had a technical glitch, but we're okay.
And here's another tip. This is one that I like to use with people who are just starting out and they're very sedentary and just taking that first step. So if that's where you're at with your life, even while you're watching, so if you're watching TV, so let's say you have a favorite show. What's your favorite show, Sergeant Cliff?
I like, I like quite a few shows. I'm a big fan of Power.
Power. Okay. I've never heard of it, but okay. So Power, while you're watching it, okay, so you're at home, you're on your couch, you're ready for your favorite TV show, you're so excited, it's a new episode. Instead of, sitting down with a box of, crackers or chips. And so just, sit down, put some water next to you and, make a pact with yourself while the TV show is going on. You do a little bit of workout, like maybe get some light weights and you can even use the couch. So I have people stand and sit, stand and sit, stand and sit while the show is going on. And then you take breaks during the commercial, get some water, whatever you need to do. And then when the show comes back on, maybe you do some bicep curls, while you're sitting there.
Okay.
Sit and do some bicep curls. All right. Okay. Next one, maybe you kind of march in place. You stand up and you march in place during. So you feel like you're not really working out because you're so interested in your TV show. You kind of, forget what you're doing. And you're distracted, but you're also, getting that heart rate up and getting your workout in.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. I like that. The activity that you can get in is amazing if you apply that method. Because usually you get
the number one excuse for not working out, you know what it is?
I don't have time.
Exactly. So that's my first question back when people say, I don't have time to work out is, okay, so tonight, what are your plans for tonight? Oh, I'm gonna get home and have dinner and then, watch my TV show.
Watch a movie.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So during your 30-minute TV show, we're going to do a little workout.
Right.
So everybody has 20 minutes in their day to work out. So that's not an excuse. I mean, everybody is busy. We can come up with a lot of reasons why not. And there's only one reason to do it, is to take care of you. And I know that's really easy for us all to kind of, put to the side and put to the back burner because we're so busy taking care of everybody else. But it is so important because you only have one body. And it's the one you have, and you need to take care of it. Nobody else can do it for you. So if you need to make it a priority and take the time, like during a TV show, and do what you need to do to exercise that most important muscle in your body. And a lot of people don't do working out because they think that they have to take all this time and go drive to a gym and then work out and that's an hour and that's an hour back. And then I've got to shower. And before you know it, it's, 3 hours. I don't have time. I don't have 3 hours. But you do have 20 minutes in your day. When the average person spends 4 hours a day on social media and looking at their screens, I think you can find 20 minutes in your day, even while you're looking at a screen, to get that heart rate up.
Fireteam Whiskey, and what are your goals with that? You also have a passion to help out first responders. So talk to our listeners a little bit about what Fireteam Whiskey is.
Yeah, so Fireteam Whiskey is a holistic wellness program. So we provide basically everything you need in order to be successful with your health and fitness. So you get a workout plan, and our workouts are done in 27 minutes, require no equipment, and just require the area the size of a yoga mat. So I've literally done our workouts in parking lots, and I've had participants do them in the field, next to their tank, next to their fire trucks, next to their police squad cars. And the reason why I brought into our approach the first responders as well as military members and veterans is also, the fact that, the police and firefighters are also struggling with obesity issues. And the staggering statistic, I think we talked about this on the last show, Cliff, was 50% of firefighters who die in the line of duty die of heart attacks. I mean, that's a staggering statistic.
We talked about that. It is.
Yeah.
It's alarming.
It's alarming. And 8 out of 10 police are overweight or obese. And talk about the people who need that fitness level, that health level on a daily basis in order for them to, A, do their jobs, but B, to survive the things that they may encounter. So if a fireman has to run up 8 flights of stairs and carry a person down, they have to be physically healthy enough to do that. And if they're not, it could put their life in jeopardy and they could end up having a heart attack. So this is why we included first responders in our programs. And also we say that any civilian can do our program if you're up for a challenge. So don't expect that this is going to be a very kind of, low-key approach to nutrition and fitness. I mean, this is a military approach to health and fitness, so we're pretty intense about it. But very short workouts, you can do them anywhere. I have people who are doing our program right now who are in the middle of Iraq doing our workouts, and they have their bars and shakes. They're on a nutrition plan. And you're assigned a personal coach who is not only a certified personal trainer and health coach, but also a military veteran. So we've been there. So we've been there. We've been in your shoes. We understand how difficult it is, but we're here to coach you and encourage you and motivate you in order to be successful. And then the other thing, I touched upon earlier as a part of our program is called the Warrior Wellness Component. And it's 10 videos that you watch during the 30-day programs. And they're all educating you on how to make that change in here in your heart and in your mind in order to make those outside changes last. So we know our program works, right? We've had people lose 25 pounds in 30 days. 20 pounds, 15 pounds in 30 days. But that's easy to do. I mean, that's not rocket science. But the hard part is making it permanent. And we've had people who've been doing our programs here now for about 3 months. We've been open, and they're continuing to lose weight and to get healthier and healthier. So it's not just a temporary diet. So if you're looking for a temporary diet, do not do my program. That's not what we do. We're all about making sure that you are making a lifestyle change. And that's a big part of it. You talked about the mental.
It's really a huge part of it. Your mindset has to change in order for your lifestyle to change.
Right. And that's what a lot of people do. And a lot of people struggle with is maybe they've been overweight their whole lives and struggled with their weight their whole lives. And they've just accepted the fact inside and in their mind that this is just their lot in life. And they're never going to be free of this. And I'm always going to be the overweight person. I'm always going to have these issues. And, I say, you are the clothes you wear, right? You are the uniform you put on a daily basis. So if you're putting on the uniform of somebody who is sick and overweight and tired and not fit and believing that is you as a person, then of course you're going to be that person, right? But if I wake up and go, you know what? Today I'm going to be a healthy person. Today I'm going to be a fit person. And that's going to be Stephanie. Stephanie's going to be a fit and healthy person today. And I wake up every day with that attitude, then it's not going to take me very long to become that healthy and fit person. I may have to fake it for a little while and just wake up and say, this is what I'm going to be today. But if I'm believing that on a daily basis, I will eventually become that person.
We just got a comment from a viewer, Captain Lincoln. Melinda Hobson Coleman just commented, she needs to stay in shape and healthy. And you're a superwoman, Captain Lincoln.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you, Melinda. So and that's what we do every day is, we have people who start our programs who believe that, and they've experienced that everything they've ever done hasn't worked, right? They've done the fad diets. They've had numerous gym memberships. There's hundreds and hundreds of gyms probably within a 20-mile radius of where I'm at right now that are being paid for by the people who are not going, right?
Wow.
Right. We throw all this money at all of these approaches and never do the work in here and in here to make any of those changes permanent. So that's what our program, that's the approach our program takes. We want to change you inside here. All the other outside stuff will happen. Your body will follow suit. But we always have to warn everyone, and I do on a daily basis, not only with myself, but with our participants, is if you think about it, if you've done decades of damage to your body with, poor nutrition and not really working on your fitness, you can't, heal that in 10 days or 30 days or even a year, right? You can't expect some sort of magic to happen. That's not the way the body works. So if you are patient with yourself and understand, okay, I did all this damage. I need to just be persistent and consistent over a long term. Then this will be permanent for me. And that's why diets don't work, is because it's that temporary mindset. You think, okay, if I just do this for 2 weeks, I can get through it, lose the weight, and then what?
And that's an excellent point, because it really does take perseverance, and it takes patience, especially when you get older. Your especially for males, our testosterone level drops because we're not producing as much testosterone, which is a very important part of building muscle. So you really, if you're just now starting to get back into the gym, or you're trying to get healthy and fit, it's going to take time, and you really do need to show some patience, because, like you said, Captain Lincoln, there is no magic or quick overnight fix. You really have to persevere and be patient.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I hopefully you'll link this up, the recipe that we talked about.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah, the one thing that I love about this journey is that I don't feel like I am missing out on anything. So if you feel like we talked about at the beginning of this interview, was when we're confronted with that, well, I have to give up all the things I love. Mm-hmm. That's actually not true. Mm-hmm. There's a way to make healthy versions of everything. I am telling you, everything. There is not one thing that's going to be left out. There's a way to make a healthy version of all the foods that you love. Mm-hmm. And I have a wonderful cadre member who has kids, so he loves making new recipes. And we post a new recipe on the Fire Team Whiskey blog every single week of a healthy version of one of our favorite things.
Now, before we get to this great recipe, yes, we've got about 5 minutes left. I want to make sure you share your contact information on all your social media platforms and any other information that you want to give out. And then we're going to hit them with a great recipe.
Okay. So our website is www.fireteamwhiskey.com, which it's also on your screen. And we are on Facebook. So we are at Fire Team Whiskey. And we also have a free Facebook group on Facebook for just military members, veterans, and first responders. And it's all about health and fitness. So if you just search the groups, military members and first responders, you'll find it. And then we're on Instagram. We're called Fire Team Whiskey Military Fitness. There we go. Mm-hmm. And then I think we're on Twitter. I'm not really.
You're on Twitter.
Yes, we're on Twitter, but I'm not really on that. And then Snapchat, just look for Fire Team Whiskey. It'll come up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Lincoln is a fitness professional, a mental health professional, an entrepreneur, business owner. She started her own food line. Isn't that awesome? Thank you so much for being a guest on the Veterans Community Hour, Captain Lincoln. I look forward to our next opportunity to share some great resources and information on health and fitness next month. And now I want you to talk a little bit about this great recipe that you have that you could share with our listeners.
Yeah, so it is the lava cake. So some of you are familiar, yes, with the lava cake, and most of the big restaurants, they have that chocolate cake with the molten fudge inside, right? So we have a healthy, low-carb version of that on our website. So if you go to the blog, and we provided the link. So basically what you're substituting out is you're using artificial sugar like Truvia or stevia, and then you're also using almond flour instead of the traditional flour. So almond flour is actually protein because it's made from nuts. And then you basically make it
fried chicken and almond flour.
Yeah, it's really delicious. Yeah, and you can get it in the grocery store. Yeah.
Pork chops. Wow.
Pork chops are great. Yes, you can do those on our program. It's all about just keeping away from the carbs and sugar.
Okay, great.
So check out that recipe for the Fire Team Whiskey lava cake on the link you guys provide, or on our Fire Team Whiskey website underneath the blog section.
Okay, so you're going to use the artificial sweetener. Now, for the egg, is that a regular egg or one of those imitation eggs or anything like that?
Oh, no. We're all about whole foods. So we don't use imitation anything. So, yes, we use regular eggs. You notice we use heavy cream.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Okay, we have a question here about greens, ham hocks, and neck bones on the
Yes,
diet.
yes. That's a thumbs up.
Oh, a thumbs up. All right. All right. I like this diet.
Exactly. That's what's so great about it.
Yeah, and you know one of the major issues that people have is, and we're coming up on that season again, is the holidays, where you really pig out on everything and put on a few pounds here and there, but that can be avoided as well.
Yes,
with,
it can.
with portion control and staying conscious of what you're eating.
Yeah, and that's the biggest tip that I give. I still have on occasion, if my niece is having a birthday party, I'll have a little slice of her cake or a little scoop of ice cream. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about, treating that stuff as a special occasion rather than every day, all day. That's what most people do is they eat sugar and carbs every day, all day. It's nothing special. But when you classify it as something special and maybe have it once every couple of weeks, it actually tastes a lot better too, and you enjoy the experience more.
All right. Well, Captain Lincoln, founder and CEO of Fireteam Whiskey, thank you so much for taking this time out to contribute to the Veterans Community Hour show. I look forward to our next meeting next month. Captain Lincoln will be contributing health and fitness the last Friday of each month for the next few months. So make sure that you guys tune in the last Friday of each month for some great recipes, health and fitness tips, and awareness. For example, we learned a lot about diabetes from Captain Lincoln, as well as the staggering numbers of people in general that have type 2 diabetes, as well as military people, 1 in 4 who have that condition, and it's totally preventable. So be sure you tune into the next Veterans Community Hour show to learn more about health and fitness information on the last Friday of August. And make sure you tune in to the Veterans Community Hour each Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm your host, Cliffy Cliff, and I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.